Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Please put on your prayer chute and prepare for jump.
It's Mercury retrograde. That means it's time for our Soulmart.me Mercury retrograde sale. Like a 1-hour reading with Christopher Witecki, normally $159, retrogrades back to $95.10. Or try a 15-minute psychic look reading with Zen Shoemaker. She retrogrades down to $45 for a 15-minute reading. Or try the Act 3 Orbits Report. And the Jupiter Gets Emotional retrogrades the same to 1111. At Soulmart.me, mind, body, and soul improvement.
Soul Garden.
Namaste, and welcome to Soul Horoscopes Orbits Edition. From my webcam to yours, I'm Christopher Witecki, your astrologer and soul biographer, here to help you put the pieces of your soul story together. And before we dive into your horoscope, I just want to give some gratitude to all those who have donated to soulgarden.tv in the last week. Thank you so much. And for those people who have purchased readings as well. We are continuing the sale. It has helped our situation, and we are very grateful. Also, this is a special horoscope designed to cover the entire 10-day period of before and after the solar eclipse that's coming up, and I'll be talking about that. So this is a special soul horoscope designed to help you through this quantum intention time. So the sun is in sexy Scorpio. We are working on our intimacy, our boundaries, our transformation, and we're working on committing to infinity. That's how serious Scorpios take it. We're going to deal with our core boundaries, and a solar eclipse is going to give us a quantum shift on November 3rd. Now, the moon signs most affected from the eclipse on are Scorpio in the eclipse, then Sag, Capricorn is very affected, and Aquarius is at the end of the week. The moon signs most affected by this, of course, are going to be the Tauruses and Scorpios, Sag and Geminis, Capricorns and Cancers, and Aquarius and Leos. But the orange ones are the moon signs that might go into depression or the dark side based on the fact that it's the anti-sign right now. Now, looking at orbits, man, I want to point out what the solar eclipse is going to do to our chakras. You may not know this, but Scorpio actually rules 2 chakras, the back of the throat and the front of the solar plexus there. The orange chakra works with Taurus, and that's what gives Scorpio the ability to rule the number 0 and complete a boundary around the soul. So this particular eclipse is going to be a tug-of-war in some senses because of the Earth is going to be located in Taurus, and the sun and moon, of course, in Scorpio. So this really is the creation and death transit, and a very powerful one. And each of your horoscopes, I'll be talking about how you can have some quantum creation in this solar eclipse. Now, looking at the planets, the most compelling thing to me is this Yod, which is a big part of the build-up to the solar eclipse. It's basically God giving us the finger, sacred geometry here, pointing to Uranus to innovate our egos. So in your horoscopes, I'll be talking about how you want to channel these other 2 parts of yourself, the new boundaries and your aggression, into the evolution of your ego and the evolution of how you act or react in society. Now, this square is still also happening, and it's important for you to know that because the Yod is being affected by the square, which means part of the innovation deals with you have to innovate or revolutionize the rules you subscribe to. And then finally, this black Lilith Grand Trine really reaches its most apex important point. We've been having this trine for weeks. This is our emotional healing underneath the seams of what we're seeing on top of our realities. And ultimately, because of the solar eclipse hitting one corner of the trine, you're going to see this issue carry out in the rest of your life. And I'll be talking about that in the horoscopes as well. Another thing I want to point out, which is really groovy, is actually this. Venus is entering and now conjuncting the galactic center this week. This is where the sun had conjuncted for the Mayan shift, etc. So this means we're going to start sensing some real high cosmic vibrations coming down from the heavens. Another interesting thing here, this is the party, Mercury, Saturn, and the sun in Scorpio. But actually, this whole eclipse is happening in the constellation of Ophiuchus. You've probably heard before that there's a 13th constellation. Well, kind of not so much true. The truth is, this is Ophiuchus here, and this is the Scorpio constellation. But it's not that there's a 13th constellation. It's that they used in the sky one little marker to represent the whole box of Scorpio. And so some astronomers who don't understand astrology assume that because there's extra space there, that we can just fit another constellation there in our zodiac. But the truth is that Scorpio rules the whole quadrant. It's just that Scorpio, in a very hiding way, is hiding in the corner. And that's part of actually the mythology of Scorpio, is that the constellation is, of course, hiding in the Scorpio den, waiting for some victim to fall in there, right? Maybe Ophiuchus. All right, well, that's all I have for now. Let's take the ascension elevator up and see what's going on with you.
Folks, this is your captain speaking. We realize you have a choice in the astrologers you choose to fly with, and we'd just like to thank you for flying with Christopher Witecki.
Namaste, crabs and Cancer risings, and welcome to 33,000 feet. Well, it's going to be an exciting time the next 10 days. We have a massive solar eclipse, and it's a gigantic investment in your total serious joy. No kidding. In fact, for the last year since Saturn entered into Scorpio, the universe has been trying to clear and scrape away the spiritual plaque that's between you and your heart, between you and your joy. This is the story of true love, the story of creativity, the story of having children, everything a Cancer wants to do. And it's very black and white, hell or high water, Scorpio, when it comes to Cancers and love. And truthfully, it's come down to high water. At the end of the day, it's time to let go of the first thing the heart wanted. A lot of times what our heart reaches out for when we're in our early 20s are things that we think it wants, it thinks it wants, or it feels it wants. But once we get it, we realize, oh no, that's not what we wanted. And so there's this learning of the heart. This is the evolution of the soul, to reach out in love and then not like it, and then retract and reach out again. So you're at that moment of retracting and reaching out again. You're at the moment of going from a sun to a supernova. It actually goes down for a minute in mass and collapses before it gets gigantic, right? And that's what you're about to do this week with your own heart. And the first step is to cut away the broken pieces, to cut away the pain, to cut away the hurt, and to nurture it back to its own health. The fragments of ourself that we lost in one love affair or whatever, we nurture that back to health. We bring it back to the step 10, whole integrity. And then from there, we plant seeds in our soul garden that will grow into fruit, into lots of wonderful joy, serious joy. So in the last year, you've been scraping away what's in the way of your heart. In the next year, you'll be building and adding joy to your heart. It's a lot of fun. I've been through this transit as a Taurus. I'm 2 signs ahead of you. And so I've been through this. And a lot of what I give you here on camera is this. So looking at it this week, you're going to move out of the love stage, which is all the broken heart stuff you've been working on for the last 10 days, opening up your creativity, finding your inspiration, returning blood back to the heart, and light casting is the next. What does your heart want? What kind of joy do you want? Do you want to be an artist? Do you want to express yourself? You know, how do you want to multiply? How do you want to see a reflection on the earth? That's what this is about, seeing a reflection. Everything you love is something you love about yourself in reflection. The sun will move from step 8 to step 16 in this video, and that means making a decision about what your heart doesn't want and aiming for what your heart does by the end of the transit. At the same time, Mercury is retrograding, which means as you're wondering what you love, you're also wondering what the definition of love is. So you're both defining love and you're also defining what you love at the same time, which is why we have a quantum shift going on, because we have 2 layers of consciousness shifting at the same time. As a result, people stack twice as high when they're done, or they fall twice as far. In the state of Cancer, Jupiter is going to retrograde this week. So since your birthday period, you've been forging ahead with new strength and a new ego. But it will retrograde on November 7th, which means you will have a 6-month break and be able to allow your muscles to heal and get strong. Black Lilith, however, is going to continue forward. So you're going to continue to build new ego in concept before you actually build it. And Black Lilith is going to help you in the next 6 months plant the seeds for a new consciousness, and this new consciousness is karma-free. And Black Lilith actually crosses Jupiter on November 27th, so you have until November 27th to dump negative ego stuff, because Black Lilith is going to multiply when it hits Jupiter, and you don't want to have any rage, Black Lilith rage in that energy when it hits Jupiter, because Jupiter is quite fertile. So looking at the week leading up to the eclipse, the important day is Halloween the 31st, because from that point on, you need to decide what pain you're going to let go of. What pain you're going to let go of. What part of your heart do you want to heal and let go of that pain? And letting go of that pain means that the ego has to let go of the battle. The ego has to give up and say, that's it, we lost, our heart was hurt, we're going to forgive and forget, we're not going to try to get what we deserve, we're going to let it go, we're going to allow the universe to restore it some other way, and we're going to replenish our heart. So that's very hard to swallow that pill. And many people won't be ready. But I got to tell you, you need to do it anyways if you can. You do have another 1.5 years of inner child development. But what you prefer to do right now is build, not continue to carry any kind of axe or burden for your past. At some point, you have to let it go. So Thursday is letting it go. Friday is acting on letting it go. Saturday is trusting that it will go. All right? And holding that space that it will go. That leads, of course, to the solar eclipse on Sunday, November 3rd. So going through the planets here, Pluto is the part that's pushing for your mirage and your marriage. And with Cancers and Cancer risings, it's time to treat yourself different now. Pluto 9 degrees says now. 9 is now, okay? That's the best way to look at 9. I just came up with that right now. Neptune is saying, hey, when it comes to what you believe, just be compassionate to yourself. There's nothing anything should be. It's whatever is good and compassionate. And do not beat up on yourself. Show mercy to yourself. Uranus at 9 degrees is saying, when it comes to your career and it comes to who you think you are and where you think you're going, you may not be correct. Your ego may be off. You may be on the wrong path. Especially if you're not happy, you may be on the wrong path. So stay humble and open to your career. And then when it comes to the actual inner child work, Saturn is at 13 degrees for most of the week. So you're jackhammering the potential of the future, and you are breaking down foundation that will allow you to plant the seeds of true joy in the first 2 days leading up to the eclipse. But then Saturn goes to 14 degrees almost immediately on Tuesday, and that means that as soon as you're jackhammering, boom, you're breaking through almost immediately. Now Jupiter is at 20 degrees, and like I said, that is a Master Shui degree. That is the highest. That moves into Chapter 3, the third decan. However, and it's a passionate love and trust. So your ego is quite crazed and pushed to the limits, and it's just going to stay there until Thursday, where Jupiter retrogrades, and you get a 6-month break from ego stretching. So you don't have to work so hard to be strong with Jupiter after Thursday. So looking at Sunday, it's an 11-degree solar eclipse. It's going to happen around 8 a.m., 8:30 a.m. in New York, in the United States, around 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. in California Pacific. And it climaxes and does a shot of integrity energy. 11 degrees is integrity, especially in Scorpio. It doesn't get more integrity than Scorpio. And 11 degrees is the most integrity degree out of all the degrees. So this is like the universe giving a slap of integrity. What happens in that case? Things out of integrity fall apart. Things in integrity build and multiply. That's what happens. So in your life, such is true, especially with the heart. Any love affairs, if you've been chasing after something that's not in integrity, it will fall apart after the eclipse. If it hasn't already, within a couple of days before the eclipse. But whatever is meant to stand will, and this is what you want to stand on through Monday. So on Monday, you're still opening up to how the universe is going to bring this to you. And then on Tuesday, there's profound quantum breakthrough. So our prayers begin to be answered Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday, as far as the solar eclipse is concerned. And on Wednesday, the light bulb really goes off as far as understanding what this means for you or what your life changes mean for you. It's also a day that's very heavy and hyper aware on Tuesday and Wednesday, so you're very much feeling your life, and feeling your life might be what leads to wanting to, breaking through, understanding. One thing I want to point out too is on Thursday, Jupiter goes retrograde, and so the ego battle takes a rest, and you're going to feel this pressure come off. You're also going to feel a huge amount of energy drop, so you might be extremely tired Wednesday on, just because you've had Jupiter in your sign and it has been like 20 cups of coffee, all right? So when the energy goes away, there's usually a lot of fatigue, and usually you need like 3 or 4 days of sleep. I'm not kidding. You may also go through a water transfer in your body, so you might have a stomach flu or something, or just drink a lot of water and avoid the stomach flu. Your body wants to switch out its water in the retrograde, okay, when you're going through a Jupiter transit. On Friday, both Thursday and Friday, emotions are on your marriage, emotions are on your marriages and partnerships, so it's really about you feeling good about your heart being on the right track, but don't let your partnerships get in the way. On Friday, it's about logging in and praying, am I on the right path? Is this what my heart wants? And really asking yourself, what does your heart want, really want? So this whole week is about jackhammering what doesn't work in your heart and holding space for what your heart does want and discovering what your heart really wants. Maybe it doesn't want Todd. Maybe it wants someone like Todd, right? And that's the kind of flexibility you need to give yourself if you want to pull this off. Then on Saturn Day, that's when you have to turn in your lotto ticket and tell God Universe, okay, I want someone that feels like Todd, or I want someone that feels like Judy, but doesn't have to be that one that broke my heart. And so on Saturday, you want to go ahead and love and trust and make that decision and put your vote into the universe spiritually for what it is that you want, okay? So let's parachute down now and grab your parachute, and I will meet you at the bottom for a new Serious Joy Toy specific on Scorpio right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Please put on your parachute and prepare for jump.
It's Mercury retrograde. That means it's time for our Soulmart.me Mercury retrograde sale. Like a 1-hour reading with Christopher Witecki, normally $159, retrogrades back to $95.10. Or try a 15-minute psychic look reading with Zen Shoemaker. She retrogrades down to $45 for a 15-minute reading. Or try the Act 3 Orbits Report. And the Jupiter Gets Emotional retrogrades the same to 11/11. At Soulmart.me, mind, body, and soul improvement.
Hello, crabs. Welcome back. This is Witecki Theater, my little Serious Joy Toy theater. And I have a new Serious Joy Toy for you. Now, if you don't know, a Serious Joy Toy is like an imaginary game to play inside of yourself for the whole week to manifest. And since this is a big manifestation week, I'm giving you a big Serious Joy Toy. Now, the first step of this Serious Joy Toy is to first throw away all your old toys, okay? So basically, you only want to keep your favorites. Get rid of all your old toys. You have to make room for the new toys. So if your heart isn't in love with it, donate it to charity. Get rid of your old toys. Throw away your toy chest. If you want to sell it, fine. But in your heart, decide what toys aren't fun anymore, okay? And this includes people you've been lusting after too. It's not a toy anymore for you. And then I'd like you to go on an internet shopping spree for everything, okay? I'd like you to sign up with sites and go on wish lists and go say everything, all the new toys that you want, put yourself on wish lists, put yourself on Christmas lists, put yourself on all that stuff on the internet. Do it on the internet so it's out there and they're reminding you that it's coming and they're sending you those nag emails. And this is your Serious Joy Toy thing. Your heart, what everything it wants. And it's about telling the universe what it wants, not necessarily telling JCPenney, but tell, all right? Pray tell, Cancer, pray tell. All right, that's all I have for this 7 days. I'll see you in 7 more. Until then, live, love, be.
SoulGarden.tv.
Live, love, be was my phrase, man. I told him when I was in prison.
In prison?
Well, the fucking establishment, man. The state of California, it's all Nixon run, man. I was in for 25 years.
For medicinal marijuana?
It wasn't medicinal back then, man. They considered it a crime. Welcome to the establishment, kids. For my sacrifice, you can now smoke it up anytime you want. I did the time. You can do the crime.